A very good evening to everyone of you guys. This is Dr. Azam here right now, Faculty of Anatomy at Unacademy platform. So continuing with our sessions, continuing with our special classes, which are mainly a series of clinical cases in anatomy. So in the first on the first day, in the very first session, we have discussed about abdomen, inguinal canal, and hernias. And the second session, we have discussed about the upper limb topic, and that we have discussed the radial nerve injuries. In the third session, yesterday, I have taken one of the topic from embryology, and that was about development of the heart. And along with that, we have discussed congenital heart disease, that is tetralogy of the Fallot in detail. And I think you all have attended the class yesterday, guys. All of you have attended the class yesterday, yes, fine. And after that, my dear friends, now today, welcome. Now today also we are going to have one more session of anatomy that is clinically correlated. And in today's session, we are going to do, again in the abdomen topic, another very much important and one of the most important topic for any exam that you're preparing, that I'm going to do with the peptic ulcer diseases. And along with that peptic ulcer disease, okay, I'm going to correlate the blood supply in the abdomen topic, guys. And the blood supply in the abdomen topic, the important thing, that is your abdominal aorta with the branches. And in that, the most difficult thing for most of the students, that is about the celiac trunk and the branches given by the celiac trunk. And I'll make you perfect in that one. And today we'll see which ulcer penetrating, then which artery will be involved. So let us correlate that medicine or surgery topic of ulcers with the anatomy. So we are going to correlate anatomy along with the surgery and medicine today, guys. So that is our topic for today. So basically we are going to deal with the ulcers, peptic ulcers, and along with that we'll learn in the anatomy the arteries and the branches and how to make them easy. I'll make it like damn easy for you people today, guys. Are you all ready for the class today? Can I get a yes or no from all of you? And I think these sessions are extremely useful to people. Chalo, sir. Thank you. I'm getting good evening to all of you guys. And yes, I'm getting yes from all of you. So let's get started without any further delay. Okay. And now, my dear friends, welcome here. What I will do, first of all, I'll give you a clinical case here right now, and I want you able to answer this one. So here we go with our today's class. Can you just answer me this question here? And I'll do one thing here. I'll start with the poll. And here starts your poll here right now. Wow. Rudra Madevi is telling that yes. Thank you. Yes, all the best. Congratulations, Rudra. So here we are having the poll going on, and yes, I'm getting the answers. Oh my God, look at that. Oh my God. So we have just got like 29% of the correct answers. Okay. And that too, number one here is Vikas Kumar. Number two is Dipanshu, and number three is Deep Manwar. So we got very, very khatanak result here. Only few people, only 29% of the people were able to answer this one. But don't worry, guys. Now this question, which is you're finding it difficult, believe me, I'm going to make it easy once you listen to my class for some time here right now. So another few minutes, just be with me, along with me. I'll make it easy for you. By the way, let us just have a look at this entire question. Did you read this one? A 52-year-old man is brought to the emergency department. Okay. Arif, the time that was given to you was actually some 30 seconds, I guess, or 1 minute. And that is what we are actually, Dr. Arif, that is what we are trying to do here. We are trying to train you people for, these kind of lengthy questions, because either you take the feedback from the NEET exam, NEET PG this year, and if you take the feedback from the FMG exam this year, these kind of questions were given. And in these questions, they have just given like 1 minute of time to solve them. So my intention is not to trouble you here, and my intention is not to even demotivate you here. My intention is purely to make you ready for these kind of things. So you should develop that patience to read the question. You should develop that, technique to find out the keywords. Okay. And you have been seeing in my last classes, after I teach the complete topic, these kind of questions will become like easy for you people. If you have attended my classes, yes, the moment you understand the concept behind it and what are the keywords to see, yes, you'll be able to answer. Welcome. A 52-year-old man is brought to the emergency department due to repeated vomiting that began like 2 hours ago. Fine. And after that, his vomiting is dark brown and has a granular consistency. Fine. The patient has a history of dyspepsia for which he takes over-the-counter antacids as needed, and degenerative knee arthritis for which he takes the naproxen regularly. He drinks 2 to 3 beers daily, temperature so-and-so, blood pressure, pulse, and the respiration rate. Physical examination reveals mild epigastric tenderness with no rebound or guarding. Hemoglobin is 9 grams per DL. Endoscopy shows deep endoscopy when you're doing it is showing deep bleeding ulcer on the posterior wall of the duodenal bulb. This patient ulcer has most likely penetrated which of the following artery? If you look at that entire thing, most of the time, my dear friends, if you look at the entire clinical question, if you see the clinical question, actually the question is only one-liner only, sir. Entire thing is a big, story, blah, 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 blah. 52-year-old male came there, he's beautiful, blah, 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 blah. The only thing is there is an ulcer on the posterior wall of the duodenal bulb. There is an ulcer on the posterior wall of the duodenal bulb. Which artery is most likely, yes, penetrated or injured? Fine. So that is what you got the rocket. So sometimes that is my main intention here right now. Why I have given you this question here to begin my class here. Okay, most of the time, the moment you will look at the question there, oh my God, these many lines, and will fear of that. Agar aap dhyan se dekhoge, the moment you see that question very carefully, it's just a one-liner question only. Okay, examiner is just trying to make a fool of you. Okay. तो आप सुनो ध्यान से इसके लिए क्या किया जाए. For this, first we are going to look at the anatomy part today, and the anatomy part today we are going to learn about the abdominal aorta with the branches, and along with that abdominal aorta and the branches, I'm going to teach you with the what will say the branches of the celiac trunk, the foregut, and automatically you'll be easily able to decide this one. So after that, I don't even have to tell you anything. Okay. Yes. Very good evening, Mohit. welcome everyone. So now, my dear friends, if you see in the diagram in your textbooks, this is the abdominal aorta. Abdominal aorta is beginning from your aortic opening here, which is at the level of T12. And right from T12, abdominal aorta will be extending up to L4. T12, L1, L2, and L3, and L4. At L4, we all know very well, it is going to divide into the common iliac arteries. Fine. So first of all, let us look at this abdominal aorta and the branches given by abdominal aorta. So that one topic will be done. And then simultaneously, we'll see the branches given by celiac trunk. Are you all ready? Do you want to learn in this manner here? Or do you just simply want to mug up the answer? I can easily tell you the answer there. But if you mug up the answer, nowadays it is not all going to help. Some people in the middle, they are repeatedly asking me, sir, will this help for FMG? Will this help for FMG? This is going to help for FMG. This is going to help for your NEET PG exam. And this is also going to help for your USMLE. Nowadays, it's all about the clinical questions. And I don't know whether you're observing the, are you appreciating the intention behind conducting these clinical classes, guys? It's not about the question. It's not about those answers there. It's all about the concepts. I'm completing like many concepts if you're observing properly there. Okay? So chaliye sir, aaj ka class hum start karte hain with the abdominal aorta. Let's begin our class today with the abdominal aorta there, guys. Now, please write down the heading there as abdominal aorta. The first concept that we are going to learn today is your abdominal aorta. The first thing that we are going to learn and that you should actually learn is actually the extent of the abdominal aorta. Abdominal aorta is going to start from T12 and it is going to extend all the way up to L4. Abdominal aorta will begin from where? From T12 and it is extending up to L4. Fine. Now, if it is starting from T12 to L4 there, now what are the branches given by abdominal aorta? Abdominal aorta की branches क्या होती हैं? What are the branches given by abdominal aorta? ये क्या हो गया? हाँ. Now, what are the branches given by abdominal aorta? See, if you just imagine this one to be your abdominal aorta here right now, you just imagine my hand to be abdominal aorta. It is giving the branches from the front. That is the ventral aspect, ventral branches. It is giving the branches from the sides here right now, sir. That is the lateral branches. And it is also giving the branches from behind. That is the dorsal branches. So I mean to say, if this is abdominal aorta, it will give ventral branches and the dorsal branches as well as lateral branches. So let us first deal with this one here. So draw the diagram here right now, sir. This one is your diaphragm. Imagine this one is your diaphragm here right now. Why? Because if you see this textbook wala diagram with all those branches, you will completely go mad. You know, all these branches, kahan par ja rahe hain. So let us make like our diagram. So imagine this one to be your diaphragm here. Okay. And from here begins your abdominal aorta. And abdominal aorta is all the way extending from T12. Okay, then L1, L2, L3, and finally it will be extending up to L4. So extent is important. And at the level of L4, it is going to divide into the two common iliac arteries. So abdominal aorta will be finally dividing into the common iliac arteries. So can I call them as terminal branches? Of course. So abdominal aorta is going to terminate. It is going to end there by dividing into two branches, and that is your common iliac arteries. So I can tell common iliac arteries is the terminal branch. And as I told you, it is giving the branches in almost every direction. So ventral, dorsal, and the lateral branches from every direction, guys. So first of all, let us welcome to the ventral branches. Now, what are the ventral branches of the abdominal aorta? The ventral branches of the abdominal aorta will be right at the level of T12. The moment the abdominal aorta begins right at the level of T12, it is giving one ventral branch. And that will be your celiac trunk. I request all of you to please draw the diagram exactly as I'm drawing. Please don't write their full form or anything there because it's going to be a huge diagram, a big diagram. So I don't want you to write down the names nearby. I'll tell you, you just follow my planning exactly. So if you're drawing the diagram there along with me, so just draw there, only write down there as celiac trunk, right at the level of T12. Matlab, what is happening there? There is aortic opening, aortic hiatus. The moment the abdominal aorta is going to cross, right at the level of T12, it will give the first ventral branch, that is celiac trunk. And after T12, at the level of L1, it will be giving rise to the superior mesenteric artery. Superior mesenteric artery. Then leave L2 at the level of L3, guys. Okay, be very careful here. It's not L2, it's L3. At the level of L3, it will be giving inferior mesenteric artery. Now, these levels are also very much important. Why? Because in the recent exams, they have asked even the levels also. Celiac trunk will be given, or celiac vessels will be at the level of T12. You have to remember the level also. Fine. So I repeat again, there are three ventral branches given, and those three ventral branches are, number one, celiac trunk, superior mesenteric artery, and then inferior mesenteric artery. Celiac trunk is given at the right at the level of T12, and then at the level of L1 there will be superior mesenteric artery, and finally at the level of L3 there will be inferior mesenteric artery, guys. Done. So we'll do one thing here. Keep this diagram as it is. Don't disturb this diagram at all. Is diagram ko na kuch mat karo. Now what you do is write down below the diagram. Yes, heading likho, sir. Ventral branches of abdominal aorta. The ventral branches of abdominal aorta. Now there are three ventral branches given from the abdominal aorta, number 1, number 2, and number 3. Number 1, you'll be having celiac trunk. And number 2, you'll be having the superior mesenteric artery. And here you write down the full forms, guys. And finally, there will be inferior mesenteric artery. So there is celiac trunk, the superior mesenteric artery, and the inferior mesenteric artery. There are three ventral branches of the abdominal aorta. Now, first you have to remember the levels at which they are given, sir. Remember the celiac trunk is given at the level of T12. Superior mesenteric artery is given at the level of L1. And finally, the inferior mesenteric artery is given at the level of L3, guys. So celiac trunk is given at the level of T12. Superior mesenteric artery is given at the level of L1, and inferior mesenteric artery will be given at the level of L3. I hope you're comfortable with this one. Anna? Now in this, the most important thing, yes, after learning their names and their levels, guys, the most important thing, the $1 million point here right now is that, okay, they are going to supply to your entire gut, the foregut, midgut, and the hindgut. That's important. So the foregut, midgut, and hindgut. Remember, celiac trunk is the one which will be supplying to your entire foregut. It is going to take care of the foregut. Whereas superior mesenteric artery is going to supply to the entire midgut. It is going to take care about the entire midgut. And finally, the inferior mesenteric artery will be supplying to the entire hindgut, guys. Fine. So celiac trunk will be supplying to the entire foregut. Superior mesenteric artery will be supplying to the midgut. And finally, the inferior mesenteric artery, it will be taking care of the hindgut, guys. So foregut, midgut, and hindgut is supplied by the ventral branches of abdominal aorta. Is it okay? Fine here, guys. So these are the three important branches which are given from the ventral aspect of the abdominal aorta. Are you learning? Are you comfortable? I think I don't have to repeat this like almost in every class. I'm telling you, please in my class, my dear friends, keep on learning. Don't just keep on listening here right now. There's a lot of difference between listening and learning. सुनने और सीखने में बहुत फर्क होता है और मैं चाहता हूं कि मेरे स्टूडेंट्स ना मेरी क्लास में मेरे साथ में सीखें. Okay. So don't just try to just listen here and dekha jayega, afterwards I will revise. No, right now you have to write down there and you have to keep on learning. So there are three ventral branches given, done. Now what about the lateral branches, sir? Lateral branches, my dear friends, there are totally 4 of them, and I will tell you certain logics here right now, and with the help of those logics you will definitely be able to remember them. Welcome to the lateral branches. Out of the 4 of them, number 1, there will be one branch which will be given here to your diaphragm. And we all know anything related to diaphragm will be what? Phrenic. It will be phrenic artery. Anything related to diaphragm will be your phrenic artery. And is it given from like above the diaphragm or below the diaphragm here right now, sir? Yes, of course. Very good. Very nice, Inderjit Singh. It's given from below the diaphragm, so therefore it will be inferior. It is inferior phrenic artery. It is inferior phrenic artery, guys. Wow, easy to remember. And now, my dear doctors, can anyone tell me, okay, what is the extent of kidney? Kidney kahan se kahan tak hota hai? Our kidney will be extending from where to where, guys? I want the extent of kidney. I'll tell you what is the reason why I'm asking you. Come on, my dear friends. What is the extent of kidney? Indrajit is telling L2 to L3. Pooja Mishra is telling L1, L2. Sakshi, T12 to L3. Shweta, okay, T12 to L3. T9 to 11. L1, acha. Remember, our kidneys will be actually extending from T12 to L3, guys. Our kidney will be extending from T12 to L3. Now, you might be thinking, why is Dr. Azam telling about the kidneys right now suddenly? Yes, observe here, my dear friends. It's T12 here and T12, then L1, L2, and L3. So T12 to L3 from here to here. Oh my God, we are at the same level. So our kidneys should also be almost at the same level there. Is it okay? So you should definitely have your kidney here. Fine. And if the kidney is present over there, my dear friends, definitely above the kidney, you will be having your suprarenal gland. You'll be having your suprarenal gland. Understanding? Okay, fine here. So now that is the reason why I'm actually, yes, that is the reason why I actually told you about, or I actually asked you about the extent of the kidney. Kidney is almost at the same extent only. So you should have your kidneys there. And agar kidney hoga, to definitely there'll be a suprarenal gland. Oh, that means the lateral branch, next lateral branch will be supplied to suprarenal gland. What is the name of that one, my dear friends? That will be your suprarenal artery. And remember, it is middle suprarenal artery. What is the name of this artery? So middle suprarenal artery. The next one, I don't even have to tell you, that will be to the kidneys. So therefore, it is a renal artery. So someone is asking there, inferior phrenic artery. Inferior phrenic artery will be supplying to what? It will be supplying to your diaphragm, phrenic diaphragm. Middle suprarenal artery will be supplying to suprarenal gland. And renal artery will be supplying to the kidney there, guys. Okay. And the fourth and the last one will be going down and supplying to the gonads. And that will be the gonadal artery. What is the name of that artery, sir? Gonadal artery. And your examiner is interested in this artery a lot. Who is not interested in a gonadal artery? So in males, the same gonadal artery will be known as your testicular artery. Why? Because in the males, the gonads will be testicular artery. And the same artery in the female, it will be your ovarian artery, sir. Female gonads will be ovaries and it is ovarian artery. Is it okay? And in recent exams, they have asked this question already. Okay, testicular artery is a branch of which one? Answer, abdominal aorta. Ovarian artery is a branch of which one? Yes, answer is abdominal aorta only. So we can clearly see all these four are the lateral branches. All these four are the lateral branches of abdominal aorta. So already, okay, already, my dear friends, yes, we are done with the ventral branches. So ventral branches already ho gaya hai, and now here done with the lateral branches. So what are the three ventral branches? So celiac trunk, superior mesenteric artery, and inferior mesenteric artery, and then the lateral branches. No, Isha Kumari, not required. You don't have to remember the levels at which they are present. Don't worry about that. You just have to remember the levels of celiac trunk, superior mesenteric artery, and inferior mesenteric artery. Okay. Welcome, Kaushik. Kaushik has joined late and he wants the revision, it seems. Oh my God, Kaushik, love you. Isha Kumari have answered that one. Yes. So all these will be the lateral branches there, guys. Lateral branches. Fine. Now, once you are done with this one, all the lateral branches of the abdominal aorta, now what is left out? Now what is left out here? We are left out only with the dorsal branches. You know? So we are done with ventral, we are done with lateral, and now we want the dorsal branches. So what will be the dorsal branches? See, dorsal branches we cannot draw here in this diagram. इस diagram में तो हम draw नहीं कर सकते हैं क्योंकि वो पीछे होते हैं. Dorsal branches are actually present behind. So we'll do one thing here. We'll just write down. There'll be like 4 pairs of lumbar arteries. Of course, it is easy to remember, hai na? Because we are in the lumbar region only. So 4 pairs of lumbar arteries, and there'll be only and only one median sacral artery. There'll be only and only one median sacral artery. So that's all. Be very careful. There'll be 4 pairs of lumbar arteries, but there is only one median sacral artery. Wow. So this completes all the branches given by abdominal aorta. I repeat again, abdominal aorta will give the ventral branches, the dorsal branches, and the lateral branches. Aage, piche, or sides में भी होते हैं. ठीक है ना? Some people are writing there continuously that there is some echo in the sound and all. My dear friends, it is not at all a problem from my end here right now. My internet is perfectly right here. There is some problem with the app there, and you can just do one thing. You can refresh the app. You can just refresh your app over there. ठीक है ना? आप थोड़ा सा वहां पर refresh कीजिए. In online classes, it will be from both the ends there. It is not only from my side, my problem there. My side, the internet is absolutely perfect here. I don't have any issues here right now. So please find out. See, the other people like Dr. Arif, Vikas, everyone is saying that is absolutely correct there. See, one indication is if there is a problem from my end, the problem will be for every one of you. So everyone will tell that there is some problem. And if everyone is not telling, only you are telling, it means that there is some problem at your end. So please try to refresh that. Is it okay? Fine. That's done. And another doubt someone was asking in the middle. Yes. Another doubt that someone was asking in the middle, sir, why it is middle suprarenal artery? Why? Because remember, your suprarenal gland will be actually supplied by 3 arteries. There'll be superior, middle, and inferior. Superior, middle, and inferior. There'll be 3 suprarenal arteries supplying. Out of the 3 of them, remember, only the middle suprarenal artery is a branch of abdominal aorta. Only the middle is a branch of abdominal aorta. Fine. And someone was asking, it is medial or median? It is median. Okay, it is median. Okay, N. It is not L there, it is median sacral artery. I hope all your doubts has been clarified. So let us just revise once more here right now, sir. Abdominal aorta. See, that is the reason why I gave you this simple diagram here. Why? Because you can see the diagram in the textbook. You will go mad. So there are like so many branches which are given here. So my dear doctors, remember, that is the best way to remember the branches in the easiest manner possible. So first you are going to remember the extent of abdominal aorta. Abdominal aorta is extending from T12 to L4, starting from T12 to L4. And what are the 3 ventral branches here? The 3 ventral branches will be celiac trunk, superior mesenteric artery, and inferior mesenteric artery. Okay. Celiac trunk will be given at the level of T12, superior mesenteric artery at the level of L1, and inferior mesenteric artery will be given at the level of L3. Point. And then, my dear friends, celiac trunk is the artery supplying to your entire foregut. Superior mesenteric artery will be supplying to midgut. And finally, the inferior mesenteric artery is the artery of the hindgut. It will be supplying to the entire hindgut. Are you all comfortable with this one? So I'm telling you all the logics how to remember here right now, but most of this topic is actually your topic, as you need to memorize all these branches. मैं आपको just बता रहा हूँ कि ना इसको हम कैसे याद रखेंगे, how to make some logic and remember. For example, diaphragm, it is inferior phrenic, and then suprarenal, middle suprarenal artery, and then kidney, renal artery. And how come kidney is available there? Because the level of the kidney is the same, only T12 to L3 only. And then gonadal artery and all those things. Fine. Now, if you are done with this one, all this discussion, actually, we started with what? We actually started with the ulcer, peptic ulcers. Okay, na? So, uske liye kya hota hai? One of the complication of the peptic ulcer is actually perforation. It will be perforating. The ulcers will be perforating actually. So, isliye, because of that reason, I have taken up this topic today. So, in anatomy, I'm going to discuss about all these branches and how come it is related to those clinical cases. I will show you within few minutes. Just you first of all learn this. After that, you'll be able to easily apply. Are you comfortable here? Now, out of all these branches in today's class, we'll take up celiac trunk and we are going to discuss about the celiac trunk in detail. Okay, now. So celiac trunk is supplying to which one, sir? Foregut. So let us see. It will be supplying to foregut means what are the branches given by celiac trunk and how to remember the names of all those branches without any confusion. बिना confusion के इन सारे branches को हम कैसे याद रखेंगे? Are you ready? But before going ahead, can anyone tell me कि foregut कहाँ तक होता है? पता चला we are having like first year students and second year students. I'm going on teaching them foregut, midgut, hindgut and all, and we don't even know the landmark. First of all, confirm me कि foregut कहाँ तक होता है, sir? Dr. Sunil is telling D2, Prerna is telling duodenum, Don is telling stomach place, Sunil is telling mid part, Ria is telling up to DJ. Acha, duodenal junction. Okay. Oh my God. That means, इसका मतलब ये कि my guess was absolutely correct here, है ना? देखो, सबका foregut कहाँ अलग-अलग तक है. Everyone has got their foregut at different levels. Oh my God. तो चलिए sir, पहले ना वो देखना जरूरी है. So let us see, like कि foregut, midgut और hindgut कहाँ तक होता है. So let us cater to every student, even the first year student, right from first year to final year. Let us cater to every student. तो एक बार हम देख लेते हैं sir. For the sake of clarity, let us see. So draw one small diagram here right now. Imagine this one is your gut here. Yes, imagine this one to be your gut here, G-U-T, gut. And our gut is divided into three parts here, the foregut and the midgut and finally the hindgut, guys. So foregut kahan tak hota hai, sir? I'm just drawing a schematic diagram. I'm not drawing the complete diagram. Foregut kahan tak hota hai? It will be including your esophagus, your stomach and even duodenum. And it will be up to the second part of duodenum. And I hope you all know in the second part of duodenum, there'll be opening of ampulla of Vater. So it will be up to the opening of ampulla of Vater. Opening of ampulla of Vater. Okay, and that opening of ampulla of Vater will be in which part, sir? In second part of duodenum. So from today onwards, I don't want any student to make a mistake. Other students who already know the answer, please don't be impatient here. When as a faculty, we are taking like classes from years together, I'm having a lot of patience in telling you all the simple things also. As a student, don't be impatient because we need to cater to every student here right now. So, yes. Ampulla of Vater will open into major duodenal papilla. Rocket? अरे यार अपने नाम बदलो यार, नाम से क्या है यार? I don't know why you people hesitate using your own names. We have been working hard in our entire life for the sake of name only, right? And you people are very much hesitant in telling the name only. Why like that? Rocket kya naam hai bhai? And I don't understand. I'm seeing this very often nowadays, whether you see it on Facebook or Unacademy platform or Telegram or WhatsApp, wherever people are hiding their identity. I'm not getting personal here. I'm not at all getting personal here to anyone. Don't feel anyone wrong here. कि मैं अब रॉकेट को क्यों बोल रहा हूँ, रॉकेट अपने आप में समझ रहा है कि सर मुझे क्यों बोल रहे हैं, ऐसा नहीं है. See, I'll take it on myself. I'm working from many years as a faculty. Why just for the sake of name? यार जिंदगी में करना क्या है? What is going to come along with this? Am I going to carry money along with me after my death? No. तो नाम ही तो है ना, और उसी के लिए तो हम काम कर रहे हैं, हम उसी के लिए तो वर्क कर रहे हैं, और आप उसी को छुपा रहे हो. And you are so much, I should not use those words on this platform right now, but don't try to hesitate in telling your identity. Your identity is the one for which we are working right now, है ना. तो रॉकेट हो गया, पता नहीं आजकल अजीब अजीब नाम है. हाँ, अरे कुछ भी कूल नहीं है यार, नाम छुपाने में क्या कूल है. आई एम वेरी प्राउड सेइंग माय नेम. यस, आई एम डॉक्टर आजम, व्हाटएवर आई एम, बट आई एम डॉक्टर आजम, है ना. देखो नीचे डॉन भी आ रहे हैं. अरे काहे का कूल भाई, आइडेंटिटी. It should be cool saying our name. Yes, I'm Dr. Azam. Yeah, that is how it should be cool. It is not like I'm Don. I am क्या था वो? I am Rocket. Okay, चलो. Okay. Don't take anything personally. Okay. Yes, don't take anything personally. I'm not telling to anyone here. Just I'm telling in general. Otherwise, it's your personal life. I'm no one to say anything in your personal life. I'm everyone to say about anatomy here. Right? So, chalo sir, welcome back to anatomy. Okay, chaliye. So foregut is extending up to what? Ampulla of Vater and into the second part of duodenum. And someone was asking, I think Rocket was asking me. Yes, ampulla of Vater opens in major duodenal papilla. Major duodenal papilla. ठीक है ना. ये लो, ओहो बाबा रणछोड़ दास, एक नई थ्योरी आ गई गर्लफ्रेंड को इंप्रेस करने के लिए. गर्लफ्रेंड जब अपने नाम से इंप्रेस नहीं होगी तो काहे की गर्लफ्रेंड भाई. चलो आगे बढ़ते हैं, वो डिस्कशन बहुत ज्यादा हो गया. वेलकम टू मिडगट नाउ. मिडगट कहां तक होता है? रिमेंबर, yes, the remaining second part of duodenum, third part and fourth part, remaining duodenum and then jejunum and then ileum, then cecum, ascending colon and transverse colon. And transverse colon proximal two-third, proximal or the right two-third. So we can say that midgut will be up to the junction. Midgut will be up to the junction of proximal two-third and distal one-third. Proximal two-third and distal one-third of transverse colon. Of transverse colons. Wow, lovely. So we'll be having a foregut and midgut and hindgut, and it is very easy to remember. Only two landmarks here right now. One landmark, foregut will be up to where, guys? Foregut will be extending up to the opening of the ampulla of Vater in the second part of duodenum, and the midgut will be up to the junction of proximal two-third and distal one-third of the transverse colon. Once you are done with this clarity here, yes, just behind this gut here, please draw the diagram of the aorta. Okay. So यहाँ पर you just draw the diagram of aorta, and I told you just now the ventral branches. Okay, so what are the ventral branches here right now? Number one, there'll be celiac trunk, and celiac trunk will be supplying to your entire foregut. Number two, it will be supplying to midgut, that will be superior mesenteric artery, and finally there'll be an artery which will be supplying to the hindgut, that will be your inferior mesenteric artery. Okay, now actually I never thought of explaining you this one today in the class, but when I asked the question कि foregut कहाँ तक होता है, most of the students have answered it wrongly. That is why I had to teach you this one. Why? Because without knowing this one, you cannot study the branches of celiac trunk. है ना, अपने को साला foregut ही पता नहीं है कहाँ तक होता है, तो what is the use of learning what are the branches given by celiac trunk? So that is why I was forced to teach. Otherwise, my intention is not at all about teaching all this simple stuff here. So foregut will be up to the opening of ampulla of Vater, and that will be taken care by celiac trunk. And now, my dear friends, let us continue our story ahead and let us learn what are the branches given by celiac trunk and how to remember their names in the easy manner. Welcome. Okay, so please write on the heading there as celiac trunk. अब यहाँ से बहुत alert, sir. That is our main topic for today. This is what I'm planning to teach you mainly today, sir. Celiac trunk. Celiac trunk here right now. Now, celiac trunk, what are the branches given by celiac trunk? You have to remember the three major ones here. Number one will be your left gastric artery. That is the easiest one. And your work starts from here. I want you all to learn this properly here right now. So from here onwards, start learning the branches properly. Celiac trunk, number one, there will be a left gastric artery. And number two, you have got the splenic artery, guys. Number two, the second branch that I want you to remember is the splenic artery. And number three, remember the common hepatic artery. Remember common hepatic artery. Fine here. So celiac trunk will be giving like 3 branches here. Okay, and those 3 branches will be number 1, left gastric artery, that is the easiest one. And number 2 will be the splenic artery. And splenic artery will be the moderate one. It is not that much difficult, not that much easy. And the common hepatic artery, yes, that will be the most difficult one, guys. The most difficult one. Switch off. Okay, so left gastric artery is the easiest one. The splenic artery will be the moderate one. And remember, the common hepatic artery is the most difficult one, guys. So we are going to learn about all the 3 branches, and we are going to learn them again in the same manner, guys. Our style of learning anatomy here will be image-based anatomy. So we are going to learn this in the image. So if you want to see this, if you want to see this in the form of a diagram here right now, yes, this is the diagram of the celiac trunk in your textbooks, guys. You'll go mad. Another diagram, if you want to see, this is how it is in your Gray's Anatomy textbook. But you will not be able to identify all the arteries here in this diagram. So let us do our diagram here first. Okay, thank you, Shiva. Welcome. Now welcome here right now, sir. So what we are going to do is we are going to draw the entire foregut here right now. Left side, I'm going to draw the stomach here. On the right side, I'm going to draw the liver. So let's get started here right now. Left side, imagine this one is esophagus here, greater curvature. And this one is your duodenum, lesser curvature, and this is the first part, the second part, the third part, and fourth part of duodenum. Fine. And here, behind here, you'll be having your spleen, just a schematic diagram, guys. And where do you have your pancreas? Pancreas will be located inside the C-shaped concavity of the duodenum. And from here, the head, neck, and the body, and finally the tail of the pancreas. And tail of the pancreas will be lying in the hilum of the spleen, in the spleen there. Fine. That's on the left side. And on the right side here, you'll be having your liver. On the right side here, you'll be having your liver here right now. Fine. And along with the liver, imagine this one will be your gallbladder here. That's your gallbladder. And then, my dear friends, imagine exactly in the middle, there'll be abdominal aorta. And abdominal aorta, imagine that we are at the level of T12. And right at the level of T12, what is going to happen? We are going to get a branch that will be celiac trunk. The ventral branch will be celiac trunk. And that is actually the hero of the story here. I request all of you to please draw the diagram, guys. Whether you have listened to my class, or whether you have attended my class, or you are attending for the very first time in my class today here right now, I want you to take up the pen, paper, and draw this diagram. Until unless you draw, it is not going to become easy. There are like so many branches right now. So that's why I'm telling you a little bit slowly here. So I think there are so many students who are attending the class for the very first time here. And I want you all to please, please, please write down here right now. So start drawing the diagram along with me. Are you ready? Are you all ready here, my dear friends? Now comes the main important topic here. Okay, for today. Let's get started with all the branches given by celiac trunk. I already made you write down there. Celiac trunk will be giving like these 3 major branches there: left gastric artery, and the splenic artery, and the common hepatic artery. Let us take all of them like one by one. First, let's start with the left gastric artery. Let's do all of them one by one. Now, celiac trunk will give left gastric artery. As the name indicates, it should be definitely supplying to your stomach only. But where? Remember, left gastric artery will be coming from here. And it's coming along the lesser curvature of the stomach, guys. Okay, along the lesser curvature of the stomach. So this is your left gastric artery. And on its way, it will be giving the branches only and only to the esophagus. I mean to say the lower part of the esophagus. Of course, what is the name of those branches? Esophageal arteries. That's all done. That's all about the left gastric artery that you have to remember. That's why I told you it is easy one, sir. Aasan hai, bada aasan hai. Hope it is done. So left gastric artery, and that artery is coming along the lesser curvature of the stomach, and that is giving the branches to the esophagus, esophageal arteries. Easy, done. Now welcome to the second one. Second one is splenic artery here. And splenic artery has to go to the spleen only. So from the celiac trunk, the splenic artery begins, and it has to go to the spleen. Now, my dear friends, the most important question here, is the splenic artery going in front of the stomach or behind the stomach? Is the splenic artery going in front of the stomach or behind the stomach? Yes, very good. Remember, the splenic artery will be going behind the stomach. It is one of the posterior surface relations of the stomach. It is one of the posterior surface relations of the stomach, guys. Stomach bed relation. So that is your splenic artery. Fine. And now let me make it easy for you people how to remember. Splenic artery, while it is going to the spleen there, it is giving certain branches to pancreas. On the way, it is giving the branches to pancreas. That is why what is the name? Pancreatic branches. That is why I told you not to write down any full forms nearby. You write down the full form somewhere else. Pancreatic branches. And it is also giving one more branch along the greater curvature of the stomach. And along the greater curvature of the stomach, that will be first of all left gastroepiploic artery. Left gastroepiploic artery. Okay. Gastro means to the stomach, epiploic means to the omentum. It is supplied to the stomach as well as omentum also. So that is why gastroepiploic artery. And my dear doctors, yes, not only that, it will also give small branches along the or near the fundus of the stomach. And those will be again gastric only. And because they're like small branches, that is known as your short gastric artery, guys. Inko hum kehte hain short gastric artery. I think now you're understanding why am I telling you a little bit slowly here today, guys. Okay. So till now, I told you about how many branches of the splenic artery, sir? Splenic artery, I told you number 1, pancreatic branches. Number 2, left gastroepiploic artery. And number 3 will be the short gastric artery near the fundus. Perfect. And there are some other branches also near, it is going to the spleen and near the hilum of the spleen, it is dividing into the small branches near the hilum. And those branches are said to be hilar branches. Hilar branches, guys. Okay. So all these are nothing but the branches given by splenic artery. इसलिए मैंने आपको कहा था ना कि थोड़ा सा moderate वाला. It is not that much easy. It's not that much difficult here, right? Is it okay? So I think we are done with 2 branches here. One will be left gastric artery done. Another one is the splenic artery done. Any doubt till here? Any problem till here? Please confirm. Yes, Eva, that's what I told now. Whatever pancreatic branches I wrote here, it will be included in that one only. Pancreatic branches में ही include होता है pancreatica magna. Chalo. Perfect. Okay. So once you are done with this one, okay, now once you are done with the left gastric artery, number 1, and number 2, once you are done with the splenic artery, number 2 is done. And now welcome to number 3 and the most important one. Guys, don't distract yourself. Don't be disturbed. Don't look here and there in wherever you're sitting at your home. Just observe here. It's going to be like a big diagram. And why am I teaching you right now like this? I hope you're understanding me. If you go back after the class and look into the anatomy textbook, in the textbook, all these branches, they are just written in the form of a flow chart. This artery will divide into this one. It will further divide further branches. And there you will never understand why splenic artery is giving pancreatic branches. There you're not able to understand why splenic artery is giving left gastroepiploic artery. So that is why in the flow chart you cannot understand there. That is why I'm making you draw the simple diagram. Yes, it will correlate. Acha, splenic artery यहाँ से जा रहा है. So definitely it is going to give pancreatic branches and left gastroepiploic. It will be understandable instead of just simply mugging the names. Are you getting a point here right now? So that is my planning here right now. And welcome to the last and final one, that is common hepatic artery. Now, my dear doctors, look at the name very carefully. Common hepatic artery. Common hepatic artery, will it be directly going to supply to the liver? Hepatic? No. Why? Because in the name it is given as common. And in anatomy, whenever there is something like common, it is again going to further divide. Welcome. So there will be a common hepatic artery, and that common hepatic artery will be dividing into number 1, the artery which is actually going towards the liver, that is proper hepatic artery. And number 2, one more artery which is going here, and that is going to move behind the first part of the duodenum. Behind the duodenum here right now, sir. So this is your common hepatic artery, will be dividing into how many branches, sir? 2 branches. I'll write down the names here. This is common hepatic artery. Okay, and it is actually dividing into a branch which is actually going to the liver. So because it is going to the liver, it gives rise to proper hepatic artery. or hepatic artery proper, whatever you love to say. Now, what about this branch here right now, sir? This is very much important, very much important. That branch is going to go behind here, and it is present between the stomach on one side and the duodenum on the other side. So I will look at this branch, as if it is going between the stomach and duodenum. Stomach on one side and duodenum on the other side. Stomach and duodenum. And that is why, what is the name of this artery? Stomach gastro-duodenum duodenal gastro-duodenal artery. That is your gastro-duodenal artery, sir. I hope you're understanding the terminology here. No, Kaushik. No. Aram se, slowly. Don't have to, rush. This is the place where many students will be getting confused. इसलिए मैंने आपको बार-बार कहा था, it is a difficult one. Let's do it again. आराम से. Okay, have patience. So which is the third branch which is given from your celiac trunk? Common hepatic artery. Common hepatic artery will divide into one of the artery which is actually going to the liver, proper hepatic artery. Another one will be gastroduodenal. Now, out of these two, my dear friends, welcome. Gastroduodenal artery will be, ending there. It is going to end there by dividing into two branches. And out of the two branches, one branch you know and one branch I know. Again, so gastroduodenal artery is going to give rise to one of the branch again along the greater curvature. Along the greater curvature, gastroepiploic. But this time it is which one? It is right gastroepiploic. It is a right gastroepiploic. Fine here. It is right gastroepiploic. Fine. Done. And apart from that, yes, it is going to give one more branch over here. And that one more branch over here is between your pancreas and the duodenum. That is pancreatico-duodenal artery. Yes. And that too, it is above. So therefore, it is superior pancreatico-duodenal artery. Are you understanding now? Now, my dear friends, you only tell me, is it really possible to memorize or mug up all these branches? Can you just simply mug up all these branches without understanding? We need to understand and remember all these branches, guys. So gastroduodenal artery is going to end here. Gastroduodenal artery is ending here by dividing into two branches, and one of the branch will be gastroepiploic. Another one will be superior pancreatico-duodenal. Are you understanding, my dear friends here? Perfect. And now let's go to the other side. Other side, it is proper hepatic artery. PHA, someone is asking. See, I'm repeating all these names like many a times already. So I request all of you to please write down that properly, sir. Okay, I'm repeating already 2-3 times, and I'm telling you slowly also here. Yes. Proper hepatic artery. Proper hepatic artery will be dividing into two branches, and that will be right hepatic artery and left hepatic artery. So one of that will be the right hepatic artery, another one is left hepatic artery. And out of these two, my dear friends, remember, right hepatic artery most commonly gives the branch to the gallbladder, and anything given to the gallbladder will be your cystic artery. Are you understanding that? So proper hepatic artery will be dividing into right and left hepatic artery, and a right hepatic artery will in turn give rise to cystic artery to the gallbladder. Kalas. So that is one of the most difficult topic in abdominal, blood supply to all the branches given with the abdominal aorta and whatever arteries that you have. And this is, I think, the easiest way to deal with this topic. That's the easiest way to deal with this topic here right now, sir. Okay. Now, if you're observing this diagram very properly, one artery is still missing here. Along the lesser curvature, you might be telling, oh my God, sir, what the hell are you doing here? Already so many branches are done. Still, what is remaining? Look at lesser curvature. Along this lesser curvature, I just got the left gastric, sir. What about the right gastric artery? And I want the answer from you people right now, sir. Come on, tell me. A right gastric artery is a branch of which one? Right gastric artery is a branch of which one? Wow, look at that name. Anonymous entity. He or she is telling that it is gastroduodenal artery. Someone is telling common hepatic. Someone is telling gastroduodenal. Someone is telling proper hepatic. Kya baat hai? Oy, hoy, hoy. Dr. Ujjain is telling gastroduodenal. Oy, hoy, hoy. Arre, re, 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 baap, re, baap. Matlab, are you people giving me the exact answer or giving me like options? Sir, nearby all these are possibilities here right now. Now you tell me, sir. Hello. Are you telling me the answer or giving me the possibilities here right now? Remember, my dear doctors, hello. Proper hepatic artery is actually going towards the liver. Proper hepatic artery is going towards the liver. Okay. And before going there towards the liver, it is the one which will give rise to a branch here. And that is your right gastric artery. Enjoy with confusion. So that is the right gastric artery. And now just imagine this diagram is given in your exams as an image-based question. Gone. Just imagine this diagram is given like image-based question, like so many arteries there with the branches, and you're given their A, B, C, D, and you have to identify. I think the best way to deal with this one, after my class today, sit back, relax, आराम से बैठो और इस diagram को practice करो. Practice that diagram. If you do like your own method, keep the book in the front, common hepatic, proper hepatic, nahi aayega. You will never ever learn that, I'll guarantee you. So the best way to learn this one is practicing this diagram 2-3 times. Then only you learn that, guys. Is it okay? And you know, one more advantage of learning this one, learning like this. One more advantage of learning like this, I'll tell you here right now. Can anyone answer me? Everyone start answering me right now, sir. Okay, now fastest finger first. Everyone start answering me right now. Can you please tell me what is the artery supplying to gallbladder? What is the artery that will be supplying to gallbladder? Cystic artery. Very good. Now, cystic artery will be a branch of which one? Cystic artery is a branch of which one? It's a branch of right hepatic artery. Very good. Right hepatic artery is a branch of which one? Right hepatic artery is a branch of which one, guys? Proper hepatic artery. Proper hepatic artery is a branch of which one? Come on. Keep on answering me. It's a branch of common hepatic artery. Common hepatic artery is a branch of which one? Common hepatic artery is a branch of which one? It's a branch of celiac trunk. Celiac trunk is a branch of which one? Celiac trunk is a branch of which one? Come on. Abdominal aorta. And abdominal aorta is actually coming from where? It's a part of your aorta only. It's coming from your heart, and heart, it's coming from the left ventricle. And that is what I want from my students who are along with me right now. Are you understanding me? The other students who are actually not attending our class here right now, you ask them कि gall bladder का artery कौन सा वाला होता है? Cystic artery बोलेंगे और उसके बाद में रुक जाएंगे. उसके बाद में नहीं पता कि वो cystic artery कहाँ से आ रहा है. नहीं पता. And now my students, they can, I can't use that word right now in the class. Okay ना? आप बताओ हमको कहाँ तक पढ़ना है. And this is the conceptual way of studying, guys. Understanding? Cystic artery is a branch of right hepatic artery. Right hepatic is a branch of proper hepatic. Proper hepatic artery is a branch of common hepatic. And common hepatic artery is celiac trunk. Celiac trunk coming from abdominal aorta. Abdominal aorta is coming from your heart. That is what you have to learn. That is how you have to learn actually. Understanding? और इसके लिए ना थोड़ा सा पेशेंस जरूरी होता है. Good things will always come only out of patience. थोड़ा सा समय देना पड़ता है. You have to give some time to learn that. है ना? Understanding, my dear friends here? Is it okay? So some people were becoming like impatient. थोड़ा सा sir fast पढ़ा दो and all those. Fast नहीं होता है भाई. Fast आता है और fast निकल जाता है. अच्छे से पढ़ने के लिए थोड़ा सा क्वालिटी टाइम स्पेंड करना जरूरी है. जल्दी में कुछ नहीं हो पाता है. दुनिया में जितने भी काम होते हैं, आनंद तभी मिलता है अगर आप सुकून से करोगे. ठीक है जी? हाँ. Are you all done? चलिए, बढ़िया. Now, if you are done with this one, let's now go again back to our clinical case. Now, let's go back to our clinical case here right now, which I have shown you in the very beginning of the topic. Come on, guys. Answer this question now. Aram se take your time and answer this question right now, sir. I have started the poll there. Thank you, Mohit. Thank you, Mohit. Wow. So the same question which I have shown you in the very beginning. Yes, now you can see there, people are answering it perfectly now. Perfectly. That's really nice. Really nice. Awesome. So we have got a beautiful result here right now. Everyone observe here right now. What is this question? I have read this question in the very beginning of the, our class also. So I think we don't have to read this again. A 52-year-old man, blah, 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 entire story. Finally, the thing is that there is an ulcer on the posterior wall of duodenum, okay, duodenal bulb. And what is the duodenal bulb? So the first part of duodenum. And the patient's ulcer is most likely to penetrate which of the following artery? Come on, tell me. What is the artery that is going behind the first part of the duodenum? We have drawn that. Not only just mugging up in the flow chart, हमने उसको draw किया था, and that is your gastroduodenal artery, which is commonly involved in duodenal ulcers. Awesome. Understanding? Now tell me, are the clinical cases that difficult, guys? Not at all difficult. Aram se handle with care. Okay? It's easy right now. है ना बच्चों? So that is what is my main intention today, teaching you the entire anatomy part, that is the abdominal aorta with the branches of the abdominal aorta, and then the celiac trunk branches and how to correlate that with the ulcers. Acha, by the way, peptic ulcer disease se hum na aaj correlate kar rahe hain. Our main intention today, in our clinical anatomy today, I'm going to correlate my anatomy with the pathology and medicine part here. Yes, my dear friends, tell me, peptic ulcer disease, what is the most common cause of that one? Most common cause of the peptic ulcer disease? What is the most common cause of, yes, peptic ulcer disease will be H. pylori. Now I will even, justify why this entire explanation is given. And tomorrow when you're going to write down your NEET PG exam or FMG exam, okay. Yes, tomorrow when you're going to write down your NEET PG exam or FMG exam, how the explanations can be given. Okay, how these explanations can be given. What are the points that you have to know about this peptic ulcer disease? So chaliye thoda sa na, we'll discuss few points regarding this one also. So after learning about the celiac trunk, I request all of you to please look at this. Yes, peptic ulcer disease, guys. Now in peptic ulcer disease, remember the most common cause of the peptic ulcer disease, the most common thing is actually your H. pylori. H. pylori is the most common cause. We'll discuss few points regarding, first of all, H. pylori. So we can cover a little bit of microbiology here. We are going to correlate everything, guys, here. That's the beauty of learning clinically, guys. Okay. So chaliye bataiye sir, first of all, is it a gram-positive bacteria or gram-negative bacteria? Come on, my dear friends. Point number one, gram-positive or gram-negative bacteria? Remember, it's gram-negative bacteria. Number one point. And what is the shape of this one? Is it like cocoid or bacilli? कौन सा वाला है? Remember, that is cocobacilli. That is cocobacilli. It's not like completely cocoid or not completely rod shaped or spherical shaped. It is actually cocobacilli. And number three, third point that you have to remember is that okay, this H. pylori, is it like sporing bacteria or non-sporing? Non-sporing hai ke sporing hai? It will be actually a non-sporing bacteria. And because it is not able to form that non-sporing hai, because of that only we are able to eradicate the infection, guys. Because it is not non-sporing there, we are able to treat that one very nicely. And apart from that, one more thing, is it intracellular or extracellular? Remember, it is extracellular. That's the beauty of that one. It's actually extracellular. It is actually present in the stomach, not inside the stomach cells of that, cells of the stomach, gastric glands and all. It is actually outside the gastric glands and all. It is actually extracellular. Fine. So it is gram-negative bacteria, it is cocobacilli, non-sporing, extracellular. All these are the important points that you have to remember. Tomorrow in the exam, yes, tomorrow in the exam, they can even use these things also. Instead of telling H. pylori and all those things, okay, na, a patient and all those things, they will be telling you. Achha, what about the spread, guys? Spreading kaise hota hai? How this will spread? How this will spread? It will be spreading by fecal-oral route. Now, what is the meaning of this fecal-oral route there? The fecal-oral route, it's already indicating the hygiene. And we all know very well that in developing countries like India, unhygienic conditions. So because of that unhygienic conditions, what is going to happen? That is going to get spreaded. Okay, now spreading hota hai, sir. So these are the points you have to remember. You can get these points in almost like in many one-liner MCQs, and even in clinical cases also. These are like your keywords. These keywords you have to keep in your mind. Fine. Now some people might be getting a doubt in their mind. Okay, sir, H. pylori, if it is the most common cause, if it is the most common cause of the peptic ulcer disease, yes. How this bacteria is able to do that peptic ulcer disease? मतलब इस bacteria से H. pylori से peptic ulcer disease कैसे होता है? How it is happening is? Yes, I'll tell you the mechanism. Listen very carefully here. H. pylori bacteria is the one which is going to produce an enzyme. The name of the enzyme will be urease. The name of the enzyme will be urease. From the name itself, you can understand that urease is going to break down urea, and it will break down urea to form what, sir? Ammonia. I hope you have learned in biochemistry. In biochemistry, the formula of urea will be NH2CO, NH2. And that will be actually broken down to form ammonia. Ammonia formula will be actually NH3, guys. Okay, fine. So urease is the enzyme produced by the H. pylori, and that is going to split or break down the urea into ammonia. And now tell me, what about ammonia? Is it acidic or alkaline? Remember, ammonia will be, yes, alkaline. Okay, so stomach mein kya hota hai now? Now it's like more alkaline form. Now, because it is like more alkaline in nature, what is going to happen? This ammonia, which is like more alkaline in nature, that is going to stimulate your G cells. Stimulate the G cells. Alkaline nature or the alkaline pH will be stimulating what, sir? G cells. And once G cells are stimulated, what is going to happen? It is going to produce more of gastrin. Gastrin secretion hota hai. And when gastrin secretion is going to occur, this gastrin is going to stimulate what, guys? That is going to stimulate your parietal cells. And parietal cells jab stimulate hote hain, they are going to produce the acid. Okay, na? Hydrochloric acid produce hota hai, sir. So there'll be increased secretion of acid. Are you getting my point here right now? That's the beauty of understanding it proper. Okay, and after that, I think I don't even have to tell you, if more amount of acid is produced in the stomach, what is going to happen further? It will lead to gastritis followed by ulcers and all those things. Is it okay? So I repeat here once more if some people are not getting it. How come a bacteria, H. pylori bacteria, is going to cause peptic ulcer disease? Repeat, yes, I'm repeating here. H. pylori bacteria is going to produce this enzyme urease, and urease enzyme is going to split the urea to form ammonia. And ammonia is the one which is going to stimulate, yes, because of ammonia, it's alkaline pH. Alkaline pH will stimulate the G cells. G cells will secrete more of gastrin, and more of gastrin that will be stimulating the parietal cells to secrete more HCl. Okay, so therefore, my dear friends, remember, H. pylori is causing what? You have to remember like two important terms here right now: hypergastrinemia. More amount of gastrin here right now, and not only that, yes, more amount of the hydrochloric acid. So therefore, yes, hyperchlorhydria, hypergastrinemia and hyperchlorhydria, and these will be the terms, technical terms they'll be using in your exams, guys. So H. pylori will cause hypergastrinemia and hyperchlorhydria. Fine. That's all. This is what you have to remember about the peptic ulcer disease. तो हमने bacteria के बारे में हमने पढ़ लिया है. Those are the keywords that you have to remember about the H. pylori bacteria and how it is going to do the ulcers. Peptic ulcer disease क्यों होता है उसकी वजह से most commonly. Are you all comfortable here right now? Now in peptic ulcer disease, my dear friends, there'll be like ulcers in stomach as well as duodenum, gastric ulcers and duodenal ulcers. But tell me, which is like more common? Duodenal ulcers are more common or gastric ulcers are more common? In peptic ulcer disease, we'll be having both duodenal ulcers and gastric ulcers. So कौन सा वाला ज़्यादा common होता है sir? Gastric के duodenal? Now I'm getting like combined answer here right now. I'll tell you how to remember. First, remember that in the peptic ulcer disease, both the ulcers, gastric ulcers and duodenal ulcers, out of them, duodenal ulcers are more common when compared to gastric ulcers. Now, as a first year MBBS student or second year MBBS student, you might be wondering right now, sir, acid is produced more in the stomach, na, sir. Then it is, why not gastric ulcers more? Why it is duodenal ulcers? I will tell you the logic and you will never forget in your lifetime. Yes, even though hyperchlorhydria is taking place in the stomach more acid is being produced. But remember, stomach has got protection. There is a mucosal layer inside the stomach that is protecting the stomach. So it is not, not readily getting affected or not commonly getting affected. उसके बाद क्या होता है? From the stomach, the contents will be moving into duodenum. And remember, the very first part of the duodenum, it is not having good protection from the mucus. Protection from the mucus नहीं होता है from the first part of duodenum. That is why that more acid which is produced there in the stomach, yes, it is going into the duodenum, and duodenal ulcers are more common when compared to gastric ulcers. Even though the acid is more produced in the stomach, remember, duodenal ulcers will be more common when compared to that of the gastric ulcers. By this, you will never ever make a mistake in your lifetime. Is it okay? Stomach has got protection, but duodenum doesn't have much protection from the acid there, guys. Done. And now about the location. Location kahan par hota hai? Whether it is, I'll just take another slide and give you all these important points. So remember, duodenal ulcers are more common when compared to gastric ulcers. Number one point. Second point, always the patient is going to come with your gastric pain only. Gastric pain, gastric tenderness. There'll be epigastric pain, guys. Epigastric pain. Hamesha, in both the conditions, whether it is duodenal ulcer or gastric ulcer, in both of them, there'll be epigastric pain only. No problem with that one. But now the next thing, in gastric ulcers, what is the location? Most commonly, kahan par hota hai? Yes, someone was asking me to tell about the stomach also. Welcome here right now. This one is your esophagus, and this is the greater curvature of the stomach, and this is the lesser curvature of the stomach. And here, if you just mark one imaginary line here right now, sir, agar मान लो कि आपने यहाँ से एक imaginary line mark किया, this upper rounded part of the stomach will be fundus. And this will be another, impression here right now. This is known as incisura angularis. There'll be a notch, and that notch is known as incisura angularis. Between these two imaginary lines, this is actually the body. Okay. And after that, the remaining part is actually pylorus. In pylorus part, again, you'll be having two parts. There will be pyloric antrum first, and then you'll be having the pyloric canal. Pyloric antrum and pyloric canal. So fundus, body, and the pyloric antrum and the pyloric canal. Okay. Now, my dear friends, gastric ulcers are more common where, sir? Common in the lesser curvature of the stomach, and exactly, to be very specific, near the incisura angularis. So this is the part where the gastric ulcers are more common. Let me use another color. So this is the part more common. Now I'm telling more common here right now. There are n number of sites. It can even occur in the greater curvature also, but more common in the lesser curvature of the stomach. Yes, near the incisura angularis. Similarly, sir, what about the duodenal ulcers? Duodenal ulcers are common in which part of the duodenum? Remember, they are more common in the first part of the duodenum. Duodenal ulcers are more common in which parts? The first part of the duodenum, D1, or they can use the word as duodenal cap in the exam, duodenal cap or duodenal bulb. Okay, so it's also known as duodenal cap. That is why this terminology is important, and I'll be even teaching that in the anatomy part also. Okay, duodenal cap kise kehte hain? First part, second part, third part, or the fourth part. Remember, it is the first part of duodenum. So there the ulcers are more common. So duodenal ulcers are more common here, and the gastric ulcers are more common in the lesser curvature. अब आप मुझे दिमाग लगाकर बताओ complication. Complication में क्या होगा? There can be perforation. अगर duodenal ulcer perforate होगा, if the duodenal ulcer will be perforating there, then which artery will be ruptured, or which artery will be, involved in the duodenal ulcers? That is gastroduodenal artery. Are you understanding right now? That is gastroduodenal artery. Hai na? So that is how you have to correlate the first subject in your MBBS, anatomy, with the last subject, that is your internal medicine, and along with the surgery part, sir. Understanding here right now? So that is what will happen. Again and again, I'm telling you in my every class there. Anatomy, I'm the first faculty to teach the anatomy first subject there. And by the way, you come up to your surgery part or, medicine part, आपके दिमाग से वो सारा celiac, trunk, branches वगैरह सब evaporate हो जाता है, चला जाता है. Understanding here right now? So that's how you have to remember. And now, similarly, tell me here, if it is gastric ulcers, perforation of the gastric ulcers, agar gastric ulcer perforate hoga, then tell me which gastric artery will be most commonly involved there. Will it be the left gastric artery or the right gastric artery involved? Left gastric artery will be actually coming from here, along the lesser curvature only, लेकिन वो यहाँ से आता है, left gastric artery. And here I told you there will be a right gastric artery. So अगर यहाँ पर ये perforation होगा, it's right gastric artery. Look at that confident answers. Wow, beautiful, lovely. I'm really happy. ठीक है? So you will are answering very confidently right now. है ना जी? तो बढ़िया है सर. चलिए आगे बढ़ते हैं. Let's go ahead here right now. So keeping that in mind, keeping all these points in mind, this is all the these are all the keywords that you have to find here. So duodenal ulcers are more common. Patient is going to come with epigastric pain here right now. In duodenum, first part of the duodenum. Which artery will be involved? Gastroduodenal. And in the gastric ulcers, what will happen? Lesser curvature near the incisura angularis. Which artery will be involved? That will be your right gastric artery will be involved. Okay, fine. And I told you the entire mechanism of H. pylori also. That is also completed here right now. And even H. pylori. And now someone was telling me regarding that ibuprofen and all, NSAIDs. Remember, I told you most common cause of the peptic ulcer disease is H. pylori. Second thing, number two, it can even occur with the NSAIDs also, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, even alcoholism to some extent, and even smoking, guys. So smoking, alcoholism, and even NSAIDs here right now, and even the H. pylori, all these are the etiology, the reasons for the cause of peptic ulcer diseases. ठीक है, चलो सर अब हम बढ़ते हैं आगे. I'll give you like one more case and I want you people to solve this clinical case for me. So anatomy done today, and along with that the clinical part is done today. And now my dear friends, welcome, welcome, welcome. Come on, answer. Let me start the poll. Welcome here. A 75-year-old man is brought to the emergency department due to acute onset of profuse vomiting of large amounts of bright red blood. Okay. तो मतलब vomiting हो रहा है with blood. Okay. He has had intermittent dull epigastric pain. Second keyword. I told you now in the clinical cases keyword. For the last 3 months, there is epigastric pain. Medical history is significant for chronic obstructive pulmonary disease COPD with multiple exacerbation and lumbar spinal stenosis. अब यहाँ पर आपको examiner मस्त घुमा रहा है. The patient has smoked 1 pack of cigarette daily for 40 years. Blood pressure so and so, the pulse is 120 per minute. Examination shows epigastric tenderness. The patient dies an hour after admission despite resuscitation. Autopsy shows a deep peptic ulcer, localized proximally on the lesser curvature. Proximally on the lesser curvature. और क्या चाहिए जिंदगी में? What else do you need in the life? है ना? This entire clinical case is like, giveaway. Actually, I'm telling you, one-liners will be dangerous. They will not give like much information. Clinical cases are like they'll be giving you like all the information. They are shouting. It's like, shouting, please mark the answer. Please mark the answer. If it is along the lesser curvature and the two proximally along the lesser curvature, it is definitely which gastric artery is involved here right now. It is left gastric artery that has to be involved. Are you comfortable now? Will you be able to deal with these type of questions? Ulcer wale questions आज से easy हो जाएंगे ना? I think this will become easy for you now. है ना? And now don't judge me ke, arey sir, today you have taken like 1 hour of our time and after 1 hour you have just taught about the ulcers there. No. I am done with the abdominal aorta. Okay, I am done with the celiac trunk topic. Two very big topics are done. Along with that, we are done with the H. pylori bacteria and all those gastric ulcer, peptic ulcer, all the important keywords to remember. Okay, so don't judge me कि इतना ulcer पढ़ाने के लिए आपने इतना समय क्यों लिया sir? There are so many topics are done. Yes, Saurav. Yes. Distal, you have to go for RGA. If proximal and distal anything is not given, then you have to go for a right gastric artery. Why? Because it is most common. Yeah? Next one. Can you answer this question here right now? First of all, take your time to read the question. I'll just start the poll within 1 minute. First, take your time to read the question first. Many more classes to come, doc. Deep, I'm thinking about that. I'm deciding whether to continue with this kind of classes or not. Chalo, ho gaya sir, done? Are you done with the question? Chalo, now your time starts now. Prerna is telling it's very easy now. Kya baat hai? Okay. Just 2 lines, Amit. Wow, that's beautiful. That is what I'm trying to put in your minds actually. Don't fear with the clinical questions. That is what I'm trying to put in your minds. Chaliye, very good, sir. We got the result here. Number 1, Sheikh Roshni. Number 2, at second position, we have got Navjat. And number 3, you have got Dude. Now, a 56-year-old man comes to the physician complaining of early satiety, nausea, and the vague epigastric pain. Number 1 keyword for the past 4 months. He has 36 pack years smoking history. Oh, bhai sahab smoking kar rahe the. And drinking alcohol also. I told you, these are also the reasons for peptic ulcer disease. Palpation of this abdomen reveals splenomegaly. Okay. Abdominal CT scan shows large irregular mass extending posteriorly from greater curvature of the stomach. Acha, greater curvature of the stomach, there is a mass extending posteriorly. Impinging on the splenic artery. Oh my God. The moment you read these 3 lines here right now, are you getting there somewhere? Relations. Directly, indirectly, हमने आज ना ये सारे relations भी पढ़े थे. अरे भाई, and some people are like, Azam sir is wasting our time. So posterior or the greater curvature of the stomach, there is some mass, and then splenic artery. How come splenic artery is coming from there? I told you very clearly, splenic artery is going to go behind the stomach. है ना? Okay. And tissue supplied by which of the following arteries should most likely be affected by compression of, agar compression of splenic artery hoga, because of that mass, if there is a compression of splenic artery, then which tissues will be affected? Gastroduodenal, nothing to do with that splenic artery. Right gastric artery also nothing to do with, right gastric artery यहाँ पर होता है. Gastroduodenal artery यहाँ पर होता है. Right gastroepiploic artery will be here only. Right gastroepiploic artery, nothing to do with that. Short gastric artery, yes, they are the branches given by splenic only, and that is why it will be short gastric artery affected, guys. Understanding your point here right now? Perfect. Done. Is it okay? So everything, all the clinical cases today are based on that entire big diagram that we have done in the celiac trunk. Okay. So I think it is useful to you people, hai na? Are you getting me? So we are done with almost like 3 cases here right now. I think you are getting like more confidence. That is what I'm trying to even tell you guys. I'm having like 1 more case I'll show you here. I think you'll be able to answer. Yes, I'm giving you 1 more question, Prerna. Don't worry about that. 1 more clinical case I'll give you. And main importantly, whoever are like the foreign medical graduates who are present along with me here, FMG, they got their result yesterday. The result was not as expected, guys. The result was very bad yesterday. There are certain reasons on that one. 31st August, the exam was conducted and the exam was like really, really tough. It was unexpected and nothing was expected in that one. They have not followed the blueprint. They have not followed the standard of the exams actually. So what I'm trying to tell, if any of the foreign medical graduate is there along with us here right now, okay, in our group here right now, if they are there along with me listening to the class right now, my dear friends, just look at the class here. If you are listening to my class from the last 1 hour, I hope you can clearly understand how to deal with this type of questions. Whatever feedback I got from the students, they gave me the feedback like, they have given like 4 to 5 lines of question. I'm wantedly giving you here like, 8 to 10 lines of questions here right now. 8 to 10 lines of question. And still you can see there are hardly maximum 3 or 4 words you have to look for. The moment you look for 3 or 4 words in the question there, yes, it will be done, guys. It's nothing very difficult. Are you getting a point here? So it's not at all difficult कि clinical questions बहुत difficult होता है. In fact, I'm telling you, clinical questions are more like giveaway. They are trying to explain the things, and during explanation, they are giving away more words to us, more hints to us. Understanding? Okay. So NB and all are actually a different story, guys. Yes, we are also doing on that part also. But at the same time, I'm now actually on this platform here right now. I'm dealing with the studies wala part. I'm telling you in the studies wala part. Remember, just make up your mind that it is not at all a difficult thing. And even please help your friends also in that one, guys. Please help your friends also in that one. Okay. I'm getting a lot of messages since yesterday. So please help your friends also in that one. Try to explain them. If they're not able to understand, just ask them to look at this one class at least 1 hour. Hardly like 1 hour. Just ask them to look at this one of the class. I have done like so many clinical classes. Ask them to look at one of the class and they'll be getting confidence themselves. This is how you have to deal with that one. Okay. Now? And don't worry, I'll even come up with some strategy and all. We are actually planning. So tomorrow probably I'll be coming up with a complete strategy. So many students are asking me the messages. I can't even tell you the number of messages. Okay, sir, kuch strategy batao. Strategy, tell the strategy for NEET exam. Strategy for the FMG December FMG exam. Yes. Don't worry. Tomorrow I'll come up with the entire strategy, entire plan, how to deal with that one. Okay. So don't worry, guys. We are with you. I am with you, people. Okay. So we'll be doing these kind of cases and all. So don't worry. Fine. So, and that too, my dear friends, you see there in one cases, in one class, in one cases, like so many topics we are completing. वो भी तो देखो ना. You can even observe that thing also. In one case, we are discussing like many topics. Understanding? And even the NEET exam next time, sir, be ready. Last time NEET exam was also the same thing. Okay, there were so many image-based questions. There were so many clinical cases in that one. And the same problem also happened with the NEET exam also. Last NEET exam, I'm telling you, after the NEET exam, the feedbacks was absolutely the same. Many people told, sir, we did not get enough time to complete the exam itself, completely read. So same is the case with the NEET exam, same is the case with the FMG exam. And who is going to conduct that one? That is NB only. Understanding? So that's what I'm telling, my dear friends. It's not difficult. At the same time, let's do both the things. Okay, at one side, we'll see what will be the pattern and everything. On the other side, studies bhi to karna zaruri hai. So don't take me wrongly. Azam sir is telling to study here right now. So that is why I'm very much fearful right now to reply something. They're taking wrongly, but it is not at all difficult, guys. You can do it. You can do it, and you have to do it. Fine. Next one. Let us deal with the fourth case here right now. My dear friends, read this case, try to answer this one, and we'll wind up the session for today. Come on, sir. I think you have read this one, and now your time starts now, sir. Yes, the poll starts now. 30 seconds of time for giving the answer. Look at definite thing there. I can't believe myself I did it right. Number one, first rank here is Sangam. Okay. Okay, fine. Surendra is telling all questions are Arey bhai, yaar Surendra, sudhar jao bhai. All answers are option D, it seems. Concentrate on the concept there and you are telling this one. Chalo yaar dekho. A 65-year-old man is evaluated in the clinic due to several months of abdominal pain and vomiting. Hint number one, the pain starts 2 to 3 hours after the meal. That's a classic sign of duodenal ulcers. That is one of the classic signs of duodenal ulcers. The pain will be after 2 hours of eating. Okay, now, gastric ulcers, the pain will be immediate. I hope you know at least this basic things. है ना? Gastric ulcers में क्या होता है? Pain immediately होता है. लेकिन duodenal ulcers में every 2 hours after the eating there will be pain. And this is like an important point here. Duodenal ulcers mean the pain will be after 2 to 3 hours of after the meal, and it is characterized by crampy and is often associated with the vomiting also. Sometimes with the vomiting. Lately, the patient has been tolerating only liquids and has consequently lost weight loss भी होता है duodenal ulcers में for the past 4 months. And then on the physical examination, he has got like mild epigastric pain there. Yes. CT scan of the abdomen shows irregular mass in the third portion of duodenum. Okay. Beyond the gut wall. If this mass continues to enlarge, which of the following structure is most likely to be compromised? Again, the arteries here right now. So like 3 to 4 words to be taken care here. I think you're observing every time whenever I'm solving a clinical question, I'm underlining few words. Those are our keywords. Abdominal pain and vomiting. And it is starting after 2 hours. Epigastric pain here right now. And it is the third part of abdomen, duodenum, guys. Okay, which artery might be most commonly involved here right now? See, for this, you just have to answer me one thing. Can anyone tell me duodenum will be extending from where to where? Duodenum kahan se kahan tak hota hai? Duodenum will be extending from where to where? Yes, absolutely right, Ross. Duodenum will be from L1 to L3. Duodenum will be from L1 to L3. Now try to correlate our first diagram of the class today. Abdominal aorta. What is the artery given at the level of L3? Come on. That is your inferior mesenteric artery. And what is the artery which is given at the level of L1? अरे यार तुम लोग सब कुछ बोल रहे हो. Everything you're telling inferior mesenteric artery, superior mesenteric artery. Come on. Look here. See, at the level of T12, I'll be getting celiac trunk, but at the level of L1, I'll be getting superior mesenteric artery, and you can clearly see the superior mesenteric artery is going where? Yes, it's overlapping the third part of the duodenum here. थोड़ा सा ना इसको मैं zoom करता हूँ. If I zoom that one, the diagram will become something like this. So this will be your superior mesenteric artery here. You can clearly see it's coming out from where? Yes, it's overlapping the uncinate process of the pancreas as well as the third part of duodenum. अब यार ये बताओ, what is the explanation given there? Yes, there's an irregular mass in the third part of duodenum and that is infiltrating beyond the gut wall. वो infiltrate कर रहा है, penetrate कर रहा है. If the mass is getting enlarged, then which artery will be compromised? Yes, remember, it will be your superior mesenteric artery which will be compromised here. Okay, why? Because it is the one related to the third part of duodenum. So are you able to understand the relation there, correlation? So I hope you're getting some confidence right now in the cases, guys. So many cases we have done today. And the arteries, I think today it's like easy for you people. And what is the most important thing? I think you have drawn this diagram. Ye wala diagram, sir. This diagram is at most important today, the celiac trunk with all that branches. And in your textbooks and all, they'll be always giving in the form of flow chart. And that is not at all easy to remember there, guys. So better follow in my way, in my style. Okay. Thank you, Anushka. Thank you, Anushka. Thank you for appreciation. Thank you all, guys. Acha, yaar, ye batao, I just wanted to have some suggestion with you people. Shall we continue with this type of classes of anatomy here? Shall we continue this type of classes of anatomy here? I was thinking, as I promised, I just want to have a talk with you people for 2 minutes. If you are having some 2 minutes, if you can spare with me. First of all, tell me, are all these classes useful? Why? Because I got some messages where the students are telling me, okay, sir, it is all like, wasting time and all. So thank you, Ria. So first of all, are these classes useful? Okay, fine, thank you. And secondly, I just want some suggestion from you people. Shall we continue this? One thing I promised you last time, every weekend I'll be doing Saturday and Sunday. Every weekend I'll be doing this one. And I requested one thing yesterday. I want you all to inform your friends also to attend the classes, guys. I want to help like many students, and you have to always help your friends. So please ask your friends to join the live classes along with me. Okay, then only I'll be also getting motivated, right, to teach you people, है ना? तो मुझे भी मोटिवेशन मिलेगा अगर ज्यादा से ज्यादा लोग आएंगे और पढ़ेंगे मेरे साथ में, तो I'll also get motivated for that one, है ना? So that is one thing I want, and I'll be again coming on the next weekend, that is Saturday and Sunday. And one more thing, acha, okay, don't listen to all those things. Acha, one more thing, my dear friends, I want to ask you people. Next weekend, shall we do like some little bit of biochemistry part? I think you all know that I'll be dealing with anatomy and biochemistry. So shall we do biochemistry part? Shall we do some cases in biochemistry? Okay. So if you people are all comfortable with that one, I'll do. Yes. See, when I'm telling biochemistry part and all, yes, we'll also do some cases from neuroanatomy also, Surendra. Don't worry about that. When I'm telling biochemistry, I don't mean only biochemistry. I'll be correlating biochemistry with every subject possible. Pathology, medicine, everywhere, sir. Okay, now pharmacology, everything will be, correlating. Yes, sure. I will correlate biochemistry with your pathology, pharmacology, everywhere. Even neuroanatomy also will do some cases. Fine. So next weekend we'll be doing the biochemistry cases. So get set ready. And one more thing I just want to tell you, yes, guys. So please inform your friends, ask maximum number of people to join so that even I can also, take up with more motivation. Thank you. Rashid Khan is telling 19 subject पढ़ा दो यार. अगर हो सका तो जरूर पढ़ाऊंगा मैं. And apart from that, I'm also starting with my revision course. Revision course on Unacademy platform. Many students were asking for this one also. So finally the scheduling has been done. I'm starting from 26th of October and the classes of anatomy will go up to 10th of December. So 26th of October will be my first class. If you want to join, you can use my code Dr. Azam 10 Dr. Azam Azam 10 for 10% of discount. And this is the entire schedule, sir. It's all given on Unacademy. On 26, 27, I'll be starting with the general embryology. I'll be doing all these topics: upper limb, lower limb, abdomen, thorax, neuroanatomy, head and neck. Take it. That's all. Fine here. So thank you all.